Hey, it's always special for me. Yeah, tell him, Tika. Go to Amazon. Put the book. Come on now. What? What? Let's go. Let's go. Tika talking that talk. Man, I feel bad because YouTube threw me in the algorithm today and I came in late to the video. like I got a notification because I'm subscribed to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I got a notification. I'm like, oh, that's how sometimes I know when the notifications are not, flowing because I don't get them. You know what I'm saying? But I got a notification and then I was late. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? All right, so y'all see me out in these streets? Did y'all see me out in these streets today? Y'all see me out there with some short videos finally? Come on, I'm happy. That's how I was late. I got caught up in that. God sent it to me. You know what I'm saying? I needed it. I prayed for it. God sent it to me, huh? So now we got some short videos that'll be, you know what I'm saying? That'll be going out. So now y'all have even less excuses. Yeah. So hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. I want to say hit the share button. The share button is the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Zelle, Minister EnQi at Gmail. Sign up to the Patreon. Cash App, Super Chat, right? Amazon, AmericanHealer.website, right? Hotep to all the Hotepistan family. Those are like my most epic conversations whenever I sit down with Hotep Jesus. Yeah, those are my most epic conversations. Man, put me in the sleeper hole and all that. Like, yeah, he put me in the sleeper hole and everything. Yeah, I was looking like Apollo, like somebody was supposed to throw the towel. I was looking like Apollo Creed in there versus Ivan Drago. Oh man. Nah, but it's all love. Seriously. Those are my most epic conversations. I would not trade those for the world. So I did get a lot of response. I did get a lot of response from the BioElectricity video, though, which is interesting because, we got maybe 500 or so views. And I think in a day or two, and you know, that's our new average. That's our new normal, right? Typically, I guess better. I was going to say better videos are, 7, 8, 900, 1,000 views. But I did get a lot of people hitting me up like, yo, you left us on a cliffhanger. You left us on a cliffhanger. And there's a lot of reasons why I had to cut the video where I cut the video, right? One reason is because, I had the birthday girls and they was like, Dad, we're not having you doing no long form videos on our birthday day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, we're not having that. So that's part of the reason. But grand scheme of things, right? Outside of my personal universe, grand scheme of things, I wanted to kind of just leave that like that and then have another video because we have a couple of other books. We have a couple of other books where we're transitioning into, like, we're making this transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, from if you have all the books, right? You've been watching this kind of develop. And what I mean is you've been reading, right? And some of the concepts and the ideas from maybe the first 20 or 30 books, you kind of watch them evolve. And then we started identifying, and I think we started really like identifying the electric nature of our anatomy in Race Hustlers Volume 2. I think it was Race Hustlers Volume 2, right? But we still hadn't really started to like put it together, right? We still hadn't really started to putting it together. It was still like the research was still like we still putting it, piecemealing it and figuring some stuff out. And so maybe 20 books later, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like 20 or 30 books later, we started to get the layout where we started to, let me see something. Yeah, because we don't have it in the PhD book. So it's not really until I think the electrician manuals. Do we have it in electrician manual number 1? Nope. Wait, yes, we do. Yeah, I think it's electrician manual number 1, actually. I think electrician manual number 1 is where we first, yeah, electrician manual number 1. So if you don't have this book, definitely go to Amazon, add this to your cart and check out, right? The melanin book. This is electrician manual number 1, right? And this is the first book where we started to like tinker around with like redesigning the anatomy. In fact, I think I still have it on the up on the StreamYard, or at least some of it anyway. I don't think I have the whole thing, but we got a lot of it, right? So we started to build we started to build this out, and redesign the anatomy, right? To the point where we basically have the whole entire anatomy done, right? But in a totally different, in a whole new way, like a whole new, totally different perspective. Right? We walked it down. Yeah, and it's evolved. It's evolved. So now we got it to the point where it's basically like an appendix of all of the books. You know what I'm saying? So we've got the whole entire, and that was kind of, even when I uploaded those, like that was kind of early. We were still putting the research together. We were still putting it together, right? But now we kind of got it a little bit more polished. It's an appendix, like in the back of the books. So after going through the entire body to kind of highlight the electrical nature of all of our body parts, right? Now we're kind of circling back, right? And we're in the spirit / the energy space, right? Now I done turned into Con Edison. I'm Detroit, what's that? Detroit Energy, DTE. You know what I'm saying? What they got in Atlanta? Georgia Power. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everywhere else. I don't know everywhere else, but y'all get the drift, right? Now we're getting into the energy side. Come on, talk that talk now. Talk that talk. Talk that talk, Kyle. Let them know. Yeah. Talk that talk. Yeah. Talk that talk. Kyle said, I got about 60 of them bad boys in the house right now. Talk that talk. Yeah. So we got we got a bunch of, different things that we got to really, it's still a lot of work. We still got a lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? But every so often it's nice to just stop and, notice the flowers, smell of roses, even pluck a rose and get pricked, right? It's good to pluck a rose, get pricked, because pain is a part of the beauty of life. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the strongest sensations. Pain is a beautiful thing, right? So our latest book, which is the Memory Bank book, right? We got deep into our bag, right? We got deep into our bag, and it kind of centers around like one of the main concepts, we'll say that, is bioelectricity, right? One of the main concepts is bioelectricity, right? The other concept is water. That's always my thing. I am EnQi, right? The god of water, right? So, but yeah, one of the main concepts is bioelectricity. The other concept is water, but the book is more about how those things come together to facilitate your memory. And right where we stopped the last video was kind of like the intersection, you know what I'm saying, where, I had to switch, you'd be like on a local highway, but then you got to switch to the main free, the interstate, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't ready. I didn't want to switch to the interstate. I was like, oh, that's a whole nother road trip. That's a whole nother road trip. So we're going to put the brakes on. Oh, man, this is already Yeah, it's already good right here. Yeah, it's calories to bioelectricity. See, that's how important. That's how much of a good spot that was. What I was literally getting ready to write this on the board, and it's already up there. Calories to bioelectricity. Right? Calories to bioelectricity. And I think it was just kind of like in my heart and in my mind, you know what I'm saying? I still have minister moments, you know what I'm saying? So it'd be like, like here, it's more classroom setting, you know what I'm saying? Even though y'all family, you know what I'm saying? But it's more of a classroom type setting. When I go to Hotepistan, that's a whole nother place. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother country. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on vacation in Hotepistan. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just a conversation. I'm not really like going to the whiteboard and doing, but it's just more of like a conversation. So I think a lot of what was on my mind and in my heart was based on where we left off last time in the live stream with the bioelectricity and some of the stuff that y'all don't even know yet, is because we didn't go there yet. We didn't go there yet. But hold on, let me pull up. How to limit bloating from consuming raw veggies. That's a good question. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I almost don't know how to answer that question. How to limit bloating from consuming raw veggies. So here's the thing. You shouldn't have. Okay, so let me say it like this. So here's what I'll say with the consuming raw veggies thing, right? Although there's a lot of conversation on the internet, right? And this is why you gotta kind of, you gotta buffer what you hear about on the internet. You know what I'm saying? With even for me, that's why I write the books, right? And people know these books is like maybe 30 to 50% Dr. EnQi, and the rest of it's like reference materials and articles and journals and just for that purpose. Because it's easy for us to get caught in the echo chamber and just take flight and let our mind take us a little, we might start in the realm of facts, but we can go, it can get crazy quickly if you don't have, ways to ground yourself and ground your ideas in reality and published research and stuff like that. So my point though is the microbiome, right? The microbiome is still a new conversation. There's a lot of information out there about the microbiome, but the overall conversation about the microbiome is still a new conversation. It's still new to hospitals. It's still new to organized medicine. It's still new research. We still don't know all of the bacteria that live in our bodies. We still don't know what all of them do. We don't know all of the chemicals that they produce. We don't know what makes them tick. You know what I'm saying? We're learning, but we don't know, right? So that being said, some of the things that we do know, right? Some of the things that we do know is that you control your microbiome with what you're eating. You control your microbiome with what you're drinking. You control your microbiome with how you exercise, right? And when I say microbiome, unlike, some of my contemporaries, I'm also including in the bacteria universe the fungus that we carry and the viruses that we carry, right? Because we carry funguses and viruses. The healthier we are, the more symbiotic those viruses and funguses that we carry, along with the bacteria, are. The more unhealthy we are, usually we have some guys that aren't necessarily team players. Now, with that being said, whenever you change your diet, right? Whenever you change your diet, just know that it's going to take you 30 to 60 days of, it's going to be rough. It's going to be, you can do some things to make it easier on yourself, but it's going to be a 30 to 60 day period to where, your body has to adjust. This is why this was something that was built into the original 40-day fruit fast plan. The 40-day fruit fast plan wasn't really a fast. That's what Dr. Africa used to argue with me about all the time. Like, yo, that's not a fast, EnQi. You're confusing people. But it was more of a bridge. You know what I'm saying? It was more of a bridge, a way to slowly kind of like transition from wherever your diet is to wherever you wanted it to be. So that way you wasn't, changing over too fast, making things too uncomfortable on your body. Because you do have to build up, like whatever you've been, if you're not used to eating a lot of raw vegetables, when you start eating raw vegetables, it's gonna be interesting. You're gonna get, you're probably gonna be gassy. You're probably gonna be gassy. It's probably gonna be some gas. You're probably gonna be, storing a lot more water than your body's used to. So, so bloating, you can have bloating from gas. Then the bloating could be compounded by, some people, when they start eating a healthier diet, they're automatically doubling or tripling their normal amount of fiber intake. So if you're doubling or tripling your normal amount of fiber, you're like exponentially increasing the amount of water your body is absorbing, because fiber is what hydrates you. So, yeah, there's a lot going on all throughout your digestive system and your colon. It's like living in a house for a long time, then all of a sudden you got to move, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you got to move like rapidly, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of work to empty, as you pull in stuff out of that house, you don't realize how much stuff you actually have in that house, So, yeah, it's a lot going on when you change over your diet. There's a lot of new bacteria. They start going to war with the old bacteria. It's like civil war in there. They got, it's brutal. You know what I'm saying? So it gets crazy. It gets crazy. Just know it gets better. So with all that being said, to give you better expectations on changing over your diet, yeah, there's no reason why you necessarily have to go to straight raw veggies. Like, that might be a little aggressive. You know what I'm saying? You might want to hit that stir fry one time for the one time. Yeah, you might want to hit that stir fry one time for the one time. Yeah, and help break up some of that cellulose, because plant starch is tough. Plant starch is tough. You know what I'm saying? It's good for the microbiome, though. So a lot of people on the internet that don't really know what, they don't fully know what they're talking about. They're like, oh, there's a lot of indigestible plant fat, No, all of the plant is technically digestible. All of the plant's digestible. Some of it's digestible for you, and some of it's digestible for all of the microbiome, all of the little critters that you carry, right? God put that together nicely. Like the human is made out of the big person, but then there are trillions, there's billions and trillions, maybe even trillion, billions, not, there's trillions and quadrillions of little tiny microscopic, creatures in microscopic communities that live inside each person. And so when you eat natural food, there's a portion of that food that's set aside for you and a portion set aside for them, right? That's how that goes. What's digestible for you, they can't consume. That's for you. What's digestible for them, you can't consume. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a nice marriage. But, it goes kind of back to the LeBron video. Remember I was saying with LeBron, the one reason why LeBron is so healthy for so long is he's found the sweet spot. Now he's messing up. LeBron's messing up with the cigars and the wine. I don't know who he has around him. He needs to fire his team and hire Dr. EnQi because they have to stop him from drinking and smoking. That's going to end his career. Maybe they are agents planted around my guy to end his career because they don't want to see him still scoring 20 at 50 years old. But somebody has to stop him from the wine and the cigars. Like, that's not okay. But he's got a sweet spot, same workout, same stress on the body, so his body's developed a routine, so, it's good to have a specific type of rhythm that you can stick to, everybody, when I say everybody, I mean, all of the different parts of your body, like, everybody in your body, it works with rhythm. That's why there's a heartbeat to synchronize all of the different rhythms in your body and bring them into harmony. You know what I'm saying? When the heartbeat is off, that's because some other stuff is going crazy in there. Yeah, the heart is the conductor of the whole orchestra, right? So I would say, just take your time probably and hit the stir fry. Don't do any oil with your stir fry. Use some water and go crazy on the seasoning. You know what I'm saying? Like, go crazy on the seasoning. Don't do fake seasoning though. Like, no Sazon, none of those yellow MSG loaded, like no Bragg's liquid aminos or coconut aminos, like none of those, you know what I'm saying? But just like go crazy on the herbal, like the real seasonings, your coriander, your turmeric, all of those things. Like find your space, find your taste, with the herbs that way as well. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it because a lot of those herbs, rosemary and bay leaves and just a lot of those things have a lot of medicinal qualities and they'll help the digestion. You know what I'm saying? They'll help the digestion. So yeah, I would say hit the stir fry. Yeah, hit the stir fry and work it in. You know what I'm saying? Work the raw, because sometimes the raw thing is overdone, like it's over promoted. Like, we don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm a raw out. That's a byproduct of all the social media stuff, all these different diets and ideas. Back in the days, I'm telling you, because I come from people that have been vegetarians since there was no other word but vegetarian. They was vegan before there was a word to describe vegan. They was vegetarian. You know what I'm saying? My cousin Cavario, my auntie Yvonne, like these people were like prosecuted like Jesus's, followers, for back in the 80s and the 90s, not eating, so yeah. And back then, if you looked up vegetarian, it said herbivore. That was the word. It was herbivore. Herbivore was vegetarian. Vegetarian was herbivore. There was no other words. There was no pescatarians. There was no lactobacillo. Like, there was none of those other ideas floating around yet. So as people started to make up other loopholes and ways to do this and that and the other and come up with other ideas for marketing and some of that other stuff, we started to get vegan, raw vegan to distinguish from cooked vegan, you know, pescatarian to distinguish from vegetarian, vegetarian with fish. Like, dude, if you're a pescatarian, that means you just eat meat. Because it's vegetarian now. Back then, it didn't necessarily mean it, but now vegetarians are locked in with the dairy and the milk products. So you're already doing dairy and milk products, and you're doing fish. Bro, you eat meat. You'd be better off telling folks what you don't do. Like, no, I don't eat any red meat. Like, that's, you know what? You know, they got a lot of terms out there. A lot of terms out there to confuse folks. So I would just say, yeah, go, you know, cook your veggies. You know what I'm saying? Cook your veggies, definitely cook your grains. Unless you have the patience and the lifestyle to kind of like soak your stuff. That's cool. Like getting to the sprouting, you know, just a lot of preparation and a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? You got to set stuff out overnight, and who knows what your lifestyle looks like. So, yeah, for most people, it would be probably just most convenient to hit the stir fry, you know, especially with stuff that's like greens, you know, because a little heat sometimes increases digestibility, and then it increase how much vitamins and nutrients you get out of the food before you turn over the leftovers to the little guys. Like, you don't want to give them too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure that you get, you want to make sure that you unlock all of the nutrients in your vegetables before you know what I'm saying, pass it off. So when you see me, I have like them boxes I be eating. Those boxes are leaves, right? Leaves are beautiful, right? But leaves are different than leafy greens, right? Your leafy greens is more like your mustard green, kale greens, turnip greens, like those big, you know what I'm saying? Like that's different. You know what I'm saying? The small leaves are a lot more digestible because you can chew them up really well. And all right. Shout out to Peyton, always trying to make sure that I can afford to get a sandwich and keep my lights on. All right, now T took us way off the subject, right? But hopefully that information was good. Hopefully somebody needed that information because that was a good question. All right, okay. So let's go to the new book and then get this thing started. Here we go. Let's go. Let's hit the share screen so the family can see what we got going on, what we're talking about here. All right, so this is the new book. All right, this is the new book. All right. No breatharian talk. No breatharian talk. Right? All right. So right. Yeah. So this is the magic number. Okay, let's go. Mike said, hold up now. Let's make sure now. Let's make sure the doc could get a little something to drink with a sandwich. You know, he got to make 6 sandwiches to have a, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, let's make sure the doc can eat, keep the lights on. Appreciate you. Right? So this is the magic number, right? So remember in the last video, we was talking about the confusion with calories, right? The confusion with calories, right? So there's two different, when you see the term calorie, you have to make sure from context. You need to use context clues to make sure that you're talking about the right thing, right? Because you could be talking about, here, let's get our Google fingers together. Let's get our Google fingers together real quick. All right, so calories, units that measure the energy content of food and beverages. While many factors can influence weight loss, you generally need to eat fewer calories than you burn to lose weight. Now, we're going to dig back into calories a little bit more, but I just want to say for the record, over the years, I have found that might be one of the most grossly overused terms in all of healthdom. That concept right there, at least without further elaboration, explanation, like more digging in, you know what I'm saying? Like, but to just throw that up there, over the years, I realized that it just needs some unpacking, right? All right. Calorie calculator, understanding calories, beautiful. Let's go to Wiki. The calorie is a unit of energy that originated from the caloric theory of heat. All right, so let's stop right there for a second. Caloric theory of heat. Heat is a form of light, right? Heat is a form of light, right? So just so we start to recognize terms that are categoric or generic, you know, and just add some specificity, or at least bring them back in terms of relevance to our conversation so that we can, you know, kind of grab a hold of these things and look, because sometimes it makes, if we can see certain relationships, it sometimes make the information more digestible, like adding a little heat, pun intended, to the vegetables, you know what I'm saying? Make it more, yeah. The large calorie, which is the food calorie or dietary calorie or kilocalorie or kilogram calorie, is defined as the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 liter of water by 1 degree Celsius. Right? Important, because in America, we don't even use Celsius. Right? We don't even use Celsius. So that's why I make it my business to use Celsius in my house with my children, right? Because Celsius is, as far as I'm concerned, real temperature. Fahrenheit is foolishness. Fahrenheit is foolishness. Your body is made out of water. The temperature should be discussed based on water, because the whole, like cycle of weather is water-based. Your body's water-based. It just stands to reason that the temperature should be based on water as well, right? So it gets a little crazy, because 0 degrees Celsius is the freezing point of water. Like, so it just makes everything simple to understand, science-wise, and going about your business, right? But when you go Fahrenheit, you don't even realize that you're below the freezing point of water, even though it might say, oh, it's 25 degrees outside. Like, wait, what? Yeah, well, 25 degrees plus the wind chill factor plus the like, that's too much for me. That's too much of a complicated. I almost got to do calculus to figure out how to get dressed and go outside every day. You know what I'm saying? Then I got babies, different ages, sizes. They got different amount of blood. The little ones, you got to bundle them up a little. So anyway, Celsius, right? So you have these two different calories. You have small calories, which is the gram calorie, defined as the amount of heat needed to cause the same increase in 1 millimeter of water, right? And then you have the large calorie, kilocalorie, etc. So in food, and then, here's the crazier part. Depending on what you're reading in science, they use both terms interchangeably. So you really got to look for dietary calorie or kcal, right? They'll put the K in front of calorie, so you know it's a kilocalorie, right? Or a kilogram calorie, right? So that way you know exactly what you're dealing with. That's how your food is calculated. That's how your weight is calculated. Your food and your weight is calculated based on the kilogram. And so food calories are based on kilogram calories, right? Very important to get this down pat, right? Very important to get this down pat. Now, I had me a marker. I do not know if this is my marker or not. I might have to open a new marker. Whenever I lose my marker, it gets crazy. All right. So this right here, yep, I think this was it. Yep, that looks about right. This is your electricity, potentially, right? Potentially, right? Because food is not electricity, right? Food is not electricity, right? So very simple space, very simple and easy to understand, but the application is where it gets, and that's why the subtitle of the BioElectricity book is the application, right? The subtitle of the BioElectricity book is the application, because it's simple for me to say. It's almost so simple and straightforward that the importance of it will slide by you. It'll go over your head, under your head, around your head, pause. It'll escape you, right? But food is not electricity, right? Now, we know the numbers 4 and 9 right? 4 and 9 are the primary packages of how our food comes, right? The number 4 representing our protein, representing our carbohydrates, right? As our protein and our carbohydrates are 4 calories each, right? Our fat, 9 calories each. So 4 times 4,184 is the potential electricity in a protein or in a carb, right? 1 unit, 1 gram, right? 9 times 4,184 is the potential, right? Electricity in fatty foods, right? Fats. Now, the reason why we can't just calculate it straightforward like that is because it takes your body time to break these things down, and it takes your body time to use the energy, right? So when we're breaking it down, that's a part of the conversion process, breaking it down. Now, what determines the end steps of the conversion process, because we'll break some food down and we'll break it down and store it, right? That's most people, springtime, they're trying to get rid of the stored food. Fat, right? I'm trying to lose some weight. I'm trying to lose some fat. Yeah, you're trying to lose, right? All them cookies and ice cream sandwiches and lovely, delicious snacks and all those things that you stored up, right? Now, you also have the different route where you break it down and then you convert it into electricity and convert it into light, right? You convert it into electricity and light, right? And you use that for energy. So that's where we get our electricity at, right? After we break down the food, are we converting the food into energy, right? That's where the whole entire name of the game is. That's where the world of bioelectricity lives. That's where your health is. That's where your lean physique is, your vanity, your ability to retain your ability to retain information, right? Your mind, your memory bank, right? The most precious thing you have is your ability to save time, right? Save time, like you save money, save time as memories. That's what saving time is. When you save time, you're saving time as memories, right? That is the most valuable thing you have. That's the thing you can possibly take with you, right? When they say you can't take the material, yeah, but you can take what you build, or at least hypothetically, you're supposed to be able to, right? But a lot of us are losing that. 80 years old, 70 years old, that was like the gold standard where people were like, yeah, yeah, he's getting up there, Yeah, grandma, she getting up there. She forgetting certain things. It's to be expected, right? That was wrong. There is no acceptable age where you lose your memory. That's number one. Number two, we live in a time period now where we're in an epidemic of memory loss. We're in an epidemic of cognitive ability loss. We're in an epidemic of people that are, I don't even know a word for not being able to count. Like, not being able to read is illiterate. Like, not being able to count, I don't even know what that's called. But yeah, we're at an all-time high of that. Whatever that is. So we have to remember, right? This is the key to understanding the body, how the body works, right? So you have this lovely term here, wattage, right? Wattage or watts, right? Wattage or watts, right? This is the most important term of the video, of the last couple of books, of all of health, of what Dr. Sebi and Robert Becker were talking about. Like, this is it. We have cracked the golden goose. This is what if we could dig Robert Becker out of the grave and Dr. Sebi out of the grave and pinpoint one thing they would like people to continue to study and learn and understand, it's this. One word, wattage. This is it right here. When they're telling you that you need to be more physically active, they're telling you you need to increase your wattage. You need to increase your wattage, right? That's what it's all about. Increasing your wattage, right? The future, the Department of Defense just put, I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars into studying bioelectricity. They're trying to figure out this. And the relationship to the mind. Now that they're understanding that all cells store information and all cells appear to participate in what we call the mind, and the mind is separate from the brain, and the brain accesses the mind, and it's an electrical unit, and blah, 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 blah. Right? This is the number one most important concept, right? And wattage is basically just a number to calculate how much electricity you're using, right? How much electricity are you using, right? So you've had terms like we've got close, right? We've got close over the years, right? We've got close over the years with BMR, right? Basal metabolic rate, or RBMR, resting basal metabolic rate, and VO2 max. And there are a lot of terms that kinda discuss aspects of it, right? Kinda discuss aspects of it, right? And do you need to know it to operate in a healthy? No, not exactly. Right? Because if you eat healthy and exercise every day, right? Or you do, like the gym thing, maybe you hit the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, but you do your daily prayers with us, right? You do your daily prayers every day with us, and you hit the gym a few times. Your wattage going to be up here. The higher your overall wattage, the higher your brain capacity and your brain function, the much more in shape your heart is going to be. The better your body is able to metabolize oxygen, the better your body is able to metabolize sugars and fats and proteins, and just everything falls into place, because this is what your body was built around. This is what your body was built around. This is why the world's life forms, our eating systems, are based on photosynthesis. We're getting caught in the flesh, and we're forgetting about the energy system that's more important than the flesh. The flesh was designed to harness the energy. The flesh was designed to suit the energy, pun intended, right? But we have the priority backwards. We got into a space for a while where we thought the flesh was all there is. Now we're having to backtrack, and science is not good with backtracking. So, they'll come as close, they'll bring you as close to the edge of the water as possible, but you got to drink for yourself. right? They'll bring you right up on it. Like, oh yeah, mitochondria. Yeah, mitochondria is the key to everything. Mitochondria is the key to everything. So all the bodybuilders, they talking about mitochondria, optimizing mitochondria, hacking mitochondria, right? You hack computers, you hack software, you hack programs, right? Why is that term, right? Now cancer research, they're moving from nuclear DNA to mitochondria, right? So everything is shifting towards mitochondria. Why? Because everything has to go here. It's just a slow walk because they're still trying to get here without bringing God into the conversation, right? It's tough. It's a tight wall. It's a tightrope. They're trying to, they're trying to slowly bring in light. But you bring in light, remember, all of the Holy Book says God is light. So it gets crazy. Right? Because at some point, science is going to have to, admit that, the whole body runs on light. It's dependent on light. Light is all there is. And at that point, they're going to think, hey, I heard that somewhere before. Let me pick up this book around here. I think it's called the Bible. The Book of EnQi. The Bible. Was it the Quran? One of them books. That one of them books say that all life depends on the, yeah. So is that, right? So wattage. Wattage is how much electricity you use in a particular time window. In a particular time window. So this is why when we came with our program, right? When we came with our program, here's the difference, right? Don't worry, this is going to age like fine wine. It's going to age so well, everybody's going to steal the drip as usual, right? But all over the world, everybody has made a living. They've made millions of dollars by basically giving you exercise like this. So you have exercise over repetition, over reps, right? So you have biceps over reps, right? Or you got squats over reps, or you got, bench press for whatever, right? And so based on what the exercise is, based on the amount of reps you're doing, they tell you, okay, well, if you're doing, for instance, if you're doing 1 to 3 reps, this is for power, right? If you're doing 5 to 8 reps, this is for hypertrophy. If you're doing, 11 to 12, 11, 12 to, 15 or 20 reps, this is for endurance, right? So they've created a whole science off of this model, right? And understanding the relationship of exercise to muscle over this model, right? Me recognizing that this is, I can't say obsolete or obscure because this works. You got guys that look amazing, perform, sports, whatever, at a high level, much higher than, of course, me, right? It works. But it's a, it's outside of the natural paradigm, right? It's outside of the natural paradigm. The natural paradigm is exercise over time, right? Exercise over time. This is a natural way of seeing things, right? Exercise over time, right? So this is where we came in with the 60 seconds, right? And then I based everything on the number 60, particularly 60 seconds, but on the number 60 because this is the natural number, right? This is the natural number, right? We want to set our bodies, our whole purpose of working out to be healthier is based around the heart. If you're building more muscle, that's based around the heart. If you're trying to lose weight, that's based around the heart. Let me take that back. If you're building more muscle, that's based on the cardiovascular system, right? The heart's the center of the cardiovascular system, but I don't want to violate the rest of the cardiovascular system. So building muscles based on the cardiovascular system, endurance training, cardiovascular system. If you're trying to lose weight, cardiovascular system. Every sort of exercise and every sort of goal is dependent on the cardiovascular system, right? Which is the reason why in the books, we've been going through like the adjustments that your body makes during exercises in terms of the circulatory system, right? So your muscles going from X amount, 4 milliliters of blood to 200 milliliters of blood per minute, right? There's a difference, right? So that's where the basis of, right? Because your fast twitch muscles, even if you want to think about it in terms of muscles, right? And this is why we break down the fast twitch muscles, slow twitch, intermediary, because fast twitch muscles, everything is fast with them. They do everything fast, right? They go 0 to 100, real quick, right? So power, explosiveness, fast. But they also run out of energy fast. Yeah, they run out of energy fast, right? So the cool part, the neat part of slow twitch muscle is that, yeah, it does everything slow, but it also runs out of energy slow. Because technically, they never run out of energy. Slow twitch muscle don't run out of energy. That's the thing with them, right? That's why red meat, white meat, right? Red meat is meat that's slow twitch muscle, in essence. White meat is fast twitch muscle. Red meat is red because it has a lot of capillaries, a lot of blood flow, because slow twitch muscle converts blood into energy, a small, steady flow of energy production. Fast twitch muscle, no blood, it stores up sugar in the form of glycogen. So it has a lot of stored energy. So when you're ready to go, that energy is right there ready to rip, boom, boom, bow. But it goes through that whole energy quickly to give you the explosiveness, right? So you have a balance, and then you have intermediary muscle, which is a combination of the two, right? But everything is time sensitive. In Melanin versus Diabetes, the carbon edition, right? We kind of go through the different energy systems, right? The phosphocreatine system, which is like the first, 10 seconds of exercise, and then you transition over as your body, runs out of the creatine and starts to go to, ATP and glycogen, and, just giving you an idea, right? But 60 seconds is the timestamp of the body, right? That's the timestamp. That's how long it takes for blood to move through the entire 60,000 miles of your circulatory system. That's how you know that's the timestamp, right? 60,000 miles, 60 seconds, right? Ideal heartbeat, 60 beats per minute, right? 1 second. 1 second, right? If you can slow it down, it's healthier, right? I had somebody comment on one of my new little short clips I'm so excited about and proud of on Instagram, right? And asks about having a slower heartbeat than 60 beats per minute. Yeah. Typically, that means that you have a healthier heartbeat, right? That means you're healthier. But it's not like I just can't say that written in stone, because there's all kinds of reasons why people might have a slower heartbeat besides them being healthier, right? This is why we have a lot of people OD, like Mac Miller and a lot of rappers, and off of the heroin, because their heart slows down until, boom, that's it. You just kind of, it keeps, the more you keep using, the more your heartbeat slows down until it, stops and you're out of here, right? So there's a lot of things that can cause your heartbeat to slow down that are not, indicators of good health, right? But typically, the better shape you get in, the better your body's able to metabolize oxygen, the better. I'm about to point back to the word wattage again. The higher you get your overall daily wattage, the slower your heartbeat will go, right? This is why turtles live for a long time. Turtles live for a long time because their heartbeat is slow. Turtles live for a long time because their heartbeat is slow. Yeah. So that's the whole entire science in a nutshell of why turtles live so long. You can just reduce it right on down to that, right? Turtles breathe slow, and so their heart beats slow, because your breath, the speed that you breathe at, your heart and your breath mimic each other. This is another reason why Nefer, the symbol for beauty and the centerpiece of Kemetic science, is, so visionary and so crazy, just for them to have understood this 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, right? But your breath and your heart are tied together. The faster you breathe, the faster the heartbeat. The slower you breathe, the slower the heartbeat. Now, your heartbeat goes on autopilot, right? Your brain will it'll go on autopilot for you, but you can consciously, right? Jesus got the wheel. Like, the saying, Jesus take the wheel. Jesus has the wheel. You're not in charge of your heartbeat, right? That's Christ. Got the wheel for you. But you can say, hold on, pull over, like, let me jump in the drive. Like, let me, like a long road trip. You got to switch up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take the wheel, put a few hours in, let the driver sleep, yeah. So you can do that with conscious breathing, right? You can take over, or unconsciously when you exercise, you don't realize it, but you take over your heartbeat, which is the reason why it's dope to have an Apple Watch or Garmin or whoever, like a little thing that can track your heartbeat for you, so you can see what you're doing, right? So you can see what you're doing in terms of understanding, where you're at with your health. That's the ultimate indicator of your health, not whether you got a six-pack or not, but how hot it can be outside, and how fast you can run or how fast you can walk in the heat. Because the heat alone will start your heartbeat to picking up a little bit. And then if you try to get out there and exercise in the heat, your heart, it'll sit you down. And if if you don't know what's going on with you, you'll mess around and fall on the ground and be in an emergency situation, right? So in order to change the focus of what we do from a vanity approach, right? Like just external, my focus has always been the health and the longevity part. So this is why off rip, we went with exercise over time. Exercise over time, right? Because that, you know, like we kind of learn this as young men. Children, if you have children, listen to this. Stop them from listening to the video for a second. This might be slightly, right? This might be, you know, sensitive to younger ears, right? But when we first start, you know, all young men, we want to learn how to not prematurely. You know, we want to learn how to hold on to that, you know, for a little while, you know. So we, you know, older guys, you know, they teach us little different tools and tricks of the trade, like, you know, try to say your alphabet backwards or sing a song in your mind, or, you know, like don't make eye contact with her. Right? But point is, it's about being able to function time, right? Endurance, right? Being able to hold out, being able to do better longer, right? So being able to do better longer. Okay, yeah. We're back. So exercise over time is the best way to kind of get that done, right? Exercise over time is the best way to measure what you got going on. You know, like, and they kind of do that in certain pockets, but it's not for John Q. Public. When the money's on the line, they do this, right? So like if you go to an NFL combine, right, they put you under the bench press and, you know, it's going to be 225, and they want to know how many you could do in a certain amount of time, or, you know, what's your 40, right? How fast can you run 40 yards, right? So there were some spaces where they used that, right? But not general health, right? The military, you know what I'm saying? Like, so places where it's of utmost importance, reps don't matter. Time is the standard, right? So time has been our standard from the jump, right? Time has been our standard from the jump. And that's how energy is determined, right? So you have energy over time, right? So this is how you get into the real understanding of bioelectricity, right? So you go calories, and each calorie represents a potential amount of energy. How you harness that energy in what time frame is what. So I'll give you an example, right? 1,000 push-ups, right? 1,000 push-ups in 24 hours is amazing, right? Amazing. Period. You could do 1,000 push-ups in a day. That's epic, right? But 1,000 push-ups in 12 hours off rip, you know, that requires at least twice as much energy to get that same job accomplished in half the time, right? You need at least, just hypothetically, you need at least twice as much energy, right? And then we can continue to do that, right? Now we know to do it in 6 hours, we're going to need 4 times as much energy, right? And so getting down to a minute, what we can do in a minute, optimizing what we can do in a minute is the ultimate in terms of for our cardiovascular system. Because typically what we do within that 1 minute window is what we're doing in one heart cycle. One heart cycle. One cardiac output cycle, right? One circulation of the blood all the way around the body, right? So from the heart all the way around to the brain, to the feet and back. Brain, feet, and hands and back, right? 1 minute, right? So what can you do in that minute, right? Optimizing your body's systems to circulate blood at its maximum potential, carrying the most amount of nutrients, the most amount of oxygen, optimizing how fast your body breaks down fats and sugars, optimizing how fast your body mobilizes, like GLUT4 molecules to pull in insulin, and, recycling magnesium, and breaking down and recycling lactic acid, and all of the things that has to happen within that 1 minute window, right? Those are the things that go, you know what I'm saying? Those are the things that translates into longevity, right? So that is, in essence, the keys to understanding bioelectricity, right? Now, with all that being said, like EnQi, we bought the book already. EnQi, we bought the book already. Okay, all right. Okay. Understanding, though, understanding that this is the language of life. This is the essence, right? So the way they broke it down in Kemet, right? You had the Ka, the Ba, the this one, that one, right? So you had 9 different quote unquote bodies, right? The subtle bodies, but the basic 3 were right here, right? The basic 3 were right here, right? And so we're kind of getting into that space with science, right? Which is why, they dug deeper into the pigment system, right? Because the pigment system translates light into electricity and magnetism, right? So we're moving in this direction one way or another. It's just a matter of moving with the blinders on versus having the blinders off, right? Being able to completely understand what's happening, right? And I don't think you can get the longevity piece without it, right? Because for me, there's no coincidence to the fact that the Jewish community is the longest living community in America and Europe, right? They live the longest, right? They're beating the Asians, right? They're beating the Asians. And it's literally like some biblical religious, like literally, because the Asian folks are giving up their gods, right? They're giving up their traditions. They're adopting Burger King, McDonald's, jeans, Jordans, they're running around looking crazy, talking crazy. Matter of fact, I had some stuff I wanted to show. I had some stuff Like, look at this. I want y'all to see this video real quick. I want y'all to see this video. What is this video? 33. Is this it?
So how much money do you think you have in there?
Oh, the vault's worth, I just...
Well, I think so, huh?
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm used to expensive things, but this for sure I'm not used to.
So this is Superman number 1. This is the one Andrew...
So how much money do you think you have in there?
Oh, the vault's worth, I just insured it for $33 million.
$33 million worth of comics.
Comics and other goods inside.
Crazy.
Are you ready?
Well, I think so, huh?
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm used to expensive things, but this for sure I'm not used to.
So this is Superman number 1. This is the one Andrew saw.
Yeah.
A recent copy of Superman number 1 sold for about $5.6 million. And this is history, by the way. It's 1939.
Wow.
It's older than my grandfather. This is my Superman collection. So all of these books are minimum starting $5,000, $10,000, and you name it. Like, for example, I have this book signed by Michael Keaton. If he gave me $100,000, I'm not going to sell it because of the grade.
Yeah.
That's esteemed grade. Now I have another book here, which is this one, signed by the creator of Captain America. You give me $1 million, I'm not going to sell this book.
Yeah, this is the world we live in. So you got to understand, we are like, the social norm is insanity. The social norm is insanity. Like, forget about my books. Forget about my books for a second. It is a crime. It is a crime that a Superman comic book is selling for $6 million and Carol Barnes' Jazzy Melanin book is somewhere for like $8. Like, that's a crime. Somebody should be able to go to jail for that. Like T. Owens Moore book, the original yellow copies of that book. Them books are somewhere for like $11, $12, $20. And Captain America books are selling for, you know, what he said? If you give me $100,000, I will not take your money. You give me $100,000, I will not take your money for this Captain America comic book. This Captain America comic book can change someone's life. So we live in this world where you have to really understand the things that don't have a value are the things with the most value. And the things with the most value are the things that are not valued. They're the things that are not cherished, the things that are not respected, the things that if you give them away, people will abuse them. Yeah. We train that way. We don't appreciate, you know, like love. We don't patience. You know what I'm saying? Like time. We don't value time. The moment that we learned that money was fiat, meaning that money did not have an intrinsic value, we should immediately stop using the phrase time equals money. Because if money doesn't have a value and we equate time to money, then we're saying time doesn't have a value. And that is insanity. That's insanity. But you need to teach people that time doesn't have a value, even despite the fact that they all go to work for a certain amount of money per hour. That right there should tell you everything. Time absolutely has a value because some people are working for $7 an hour. Some people are working for $15 an hour. Some people are working for $50 an hour. Some people are working for so much per hour that you don't even do hourly. You just do salary. Like, yeah, this person's making $200,000 per year. This person made $2 million per year. Even if you do per year, it's still per time. So you're putting a value on that person's time. And because that person earns more money per time than someone else, we put a higher value on that person's life because their time is worth more than your time or that person's time, right? So it's like a mind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hold up, time equals money, but money doesn't have a value. So time doesn't have a value. Wait, what? And the crazy thing is, nobody really cares. Nobody really truly cares until they got some weird stuff going on. They go to the doctor, and then folks say, what? Your time is running out. Your time is running out. At that point, they're willing to leverage all of their material value. Like that guy right there with the $1 million comic books is a fat. He's kind of chunky. So he's going to get that message one day. Oh yeah. And he got a few dollars. So that means he's running around like Khaled. He's enjoying, he's indulging in all the finer things that life has to offer. So he's eating a lot of cakes and steaks and so, his window is somewhere around 40-ish, 45, 40. He's going to sit down and have the conversation with them folks, if he's lucky. Sometimes people fall down and don't get back up, but he'll have a conversation with them folks and they'll be like, hey, and at that point, he's going to be willing to, oh, yeah, they make nothing but comic books. Yeah, to call his wife, sell all them comic books because we need to move to a certain type of location with a certain amount of, sun and I need trainers and nutritionists and I need to leverage all my material to try to buy my time back. Right? I need to try to buy my time back, right? Instead of trying to save time, save breath, right? Instead of trying to save your breath initially, right? That's what we're doing with this. Your whole initiative of eating right, of exercising is about saving your breath. Remember, the breath is tied to the heart rate. The higher your VO2 max efficiency, right? The lower your heart rate. Save your breath. The deeper you learn how to breathe, you save your breath. The easier it is for your body to keep your blood, at a nice alkalinity, save your breath. The more efficiently your mitochondria can convert glucose and fatty acids into, electrons and protons to recycle ATP, to recycle that light that our body, you save your breath. Right? So it's about saving your breath. Right? Saving your breath, saving time. Right? Saving your breath, saving time. What's time? Time is memories. That's how you save time. Right? I have early memories. Me and my children, we have discussions about core memories. Right? You need to have core memory discussions with your family. Right? What is core memory discussions? Just best memories and worst memories. Best memories and worst memories, right? Bad memories are cool to discuss because it helps to get rid of the trauma associated with those memories. And also, if you're still here, the bad memory wasn't that bad. That time wasn't that bad because you obviously got through it. You're still here, right? But you need to sit down with the family and you should have those discussions. Just, even if it's birthdays, holidays, times like that, you need to have those conversations because memories are important. And even though things happen as a unit, you'd be surprised to learn what memories were special to you were insignificant to the rest of your family or your children. And what memories were special to your children that you got to fake like you still remember. They're like, Dad, remember that time that we went to the... You like, yeah, what happened? Yeah, I remember, but tell me about what had happened, because I remember what you had on. You had on that outfit with the red. Oh yeah. I know what you... Be surprised. It wasn't that significant to you, right? It might have been your 10th time going to the movies. It might have been their first. It might have been your 10th time going to Disney World. It might have been their first. It might have been your 10th time or 100,000th. It might have been your 10,000th time going out for a slice of pizza, but they might remember their first time going out to get a slice of pizza, or going out to get an ice cream, or going to a video arcade, or whatever the case may be, right? So just having those conversations helps to reinforce them. Helps to reinforce them, because that is the most valuable thing that we have in this life. Our memories of the events that we, like I come from a background where, I don't really get that, certain things it's not for the internet, you know what I'm saying? But I still have a lot of friends that are in different types of spaces, put it that way. They're in different types of spaces. And, over time, like last night, I got to thinking about it because I'm having this conversation with HJ. And in the conversation, we're talking about value. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to thinking about it because he's asking me, like, how do I manage knowing certain things and not necessarily blowing up the spot all the time? But a part of that is me understanding too, like I have a different value system. You know what I'm saying? And some of that's come with maturity. Some of that's just how my father raised me. Some of it, it comes from different places, but I have a different value system. You can see people's value systems on the internet, on social media, right? Because people value what they put their money and their time into. So you see what people value by what they stand next to proudly. So a lot of people, they post pictures of them on social media at the jewelry store. They're proud to invest their time and money into their jewelry, right? We just saw the guy there. He's proud. He's invested his time and money into his comic book collection, right? He has a $33 million comic book safe, right? You see a lot of folks on the internet, they're next to their cars. They're proud of their car collection. They've invested a lot of time and money into their car collection. But, then you see me on the internet. I'm most often standing next to my children. Because that's where my time and money goes into, my children. You know what I'm saying? Even this that I'm doing here with you guys, I do for and with my children. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see who authored these books, you go, oh, yeah, that's EnQi and the babies. Yeah, that's, for and with my babies. So, and what I'm saying is, when you get to the end of time and you have to start taking account, right? Taking account, right? Remember, account is what? What does the word account mean? The word account means, right, like bank account, right, or checking account. But account also is a memory. Yeah. So like right now on Diddy trial, right, they have people giving their account of what events transpired with Diddy when they remember the times, right? They have saved times, events, situations stored away, right? So they're going through their accounts with Diddy, right? So later on, you know, we have to be held accountable. Accountable. We have to be held accountable for, you know, our choices. Like, so, you know, if you have children, your children are watching. And if you spent more time, if you've invested more time and money into your business or your car or your chains than your children, they're going to hold your feet to the fire for that. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to have to deal with that on your own, right? Because you have more memories with the car, with the, you know, you had those where your memories are, your core, you know, your children will have core memories that don't include you. You won't be in those memories, you know. So if you have those discussions periodically, you know, every couple months, you have conversations about core memories and what we hold dear, it helps you to reevaluate things on a much more frequent time scale so that you can change up some things, right? Because the health science is cool, but I had a conversation with one of my brothers, right? And he's like, yo, I'm trying to get my wife to switch over to eating a better, you know, better diet plan. I'm trying to get her to eat a little bit healthier, right? So what you got for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so, you know, what you got for me? What's the trick? I need to get my wife on board with this program, you know, because he's switching over, doing his thing, and he wants her to switch over too. And I said, well, unfortunately, you in trouble. He wasn't expecting that answer. He was expecting me to give him the Dr. EnQi, you know, like, you in trouble. You ever heard the saying called the gift is the curse? It's like, yeah, that's the space where you in. And he sounded like curious. I said, well, you know, you guys have a really beautiful and stable relationship. And then he was like, oh, yeah, I know, you know, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm like, no. I wasn't complimenting you. I'm diagnosing your problem. She's good. She's healthy. She almost never gets sick. And she's in a stable relationship. What is her motivation to change? Right? Yeah. So people have to go beyond, you know, like for us, if we're having a longevity conversation, like if we're trying to sell products or we're trying to sell concepts, we're just trying to go viral, right? But if we're trying to get people to live longer, we're trying to get people to live better. The reason why education is the thing, and the reason why we have to kind of sometimes have these types of discussions is because we have to change the compass, right? Because everybody is not vain. Everybody is not trying to put on a tight dress or, you know, be an internet model, right? They're not on the market to attract a new partner. Like they beyond that. Like that's beneath them. They don't even have time for that kind of. So what is the thing that's going to get them to move in a healthier direction? Right? We have to have these conversations because unfortunately there are some things that we can fix like Johnny on the spot, like at almost any stage of type 2 or, you know, mitochondrial or, you know, like most of these new forms of diabetes, like almost at any stage we could jump on it and eventually, you know, within reason, we can get you out of trouble, right? But dementia per se, dementia is almost a death trap. Dementia is almost a death trap. Once you get deep down into the bowels, it's tough to bring you out of there. It's tough to bring you out of there. It can happen, but it's tough to get you out of there, right? So we have to, first things first, realize that what is the value in life, right? Then we have to realize we have to put that in a safe. We have to put that in a vault, right? And then we have to do what we need to do to protect it, right? Like people have alarm systems on their car. They got Ring doorbell. We have to, right? We have to do those. We have to put those type of security measures.
Myron! Myron!
What?
What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Man, nobody read no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Well, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday too. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even a, first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
I'm not looking at the pictures. I know I look at the pictures. I got the books right here. I'm looking at the pictures. You know, it ain't nothing nasty about this. So what are you talking about? I got all the books right here.
Detox faster. When you have fat, it acts as a protective layer from toxicity. And when you ingest a toxin, it's going to go into the fat. So if you're lean, you're going to be more neurotic and you're going to heal slower. Look at the bodybuilders. When they get lean before a bodybuilding show, that's when they get injured. They have less protection. When you want to get strong, you bulk up and get fat. The heavier athletes are always stronger, right? So a few years ago, I went from 160 to 200. I had a belly. I was like actually fat. And it was awesome.
Okay, hold on. I want y'all to see this. Man, where is this video? Man, hold on. I'm trying to find Liver King, one of these Liver King guys. Because I don't think y'all could see it if I do it on my phone. Can y'all hear this?
And when you ingest a toxin, it's going to go into the fat. So if you're lean, you're going to... My goal right now is to get as fat as possible. You want to know why? Because getting fat on raw foods helps you to detox faster. When you have fat, it acts as a protective layer from toxicity. And my goal right now is to get as fat as possible. You want to know why? Because getting fat on raw foods helps you to detox faster. When you have fat, it acts as a protective layer from toxicity. And when you ingest a toxin, it's going to go into the fat. So if you're lean, you're going to be more neurotic and you're going to heal slower. Look at the bodybuilders. When they get lean before a bodybuilding show, that's when they get injured. They have less protection. When you want to get strong, you bulk up and get fat. The heavier athletes are always stronger, right? So a few years ago, I went from one... My goal right now is to get as fat as possible. You want to know why? because getting fat on raw foods helps you to detox faster. When you have fat, it acts as a protective layer from toxicity. And when you ingest a toxin, it's going to go into the fat. So if you're lean, you're going to be more neurotic and you're going to heal slower. Look at the bodybuilders. When they get lean before a bodybuilding show, that's when they get injured. They have less protection. When you want to get strong, you bulk up and get fat. The heavier athletes are always stronger, right? So a few years ago, I went from 160 to 200. I had a belly. I was like actually fat, and it was awesome. I felt pretty good off of it. Yeah, I couldn't jump as high. I couldn't skate as fast, but psychologically, I felt a lot better. So, you know, people talk about, you know, you need to eat in a caloric deficit. Oh, you need to lose weight. You know what the thing is? I want to be fat because the fatter I am, the better I feel. They say obesity is linked to diseases. Well, that's because... Oh, sorry, I just drank a bunch of raw milk. That's because...
We can just stop it right there. That guy right there, shout out to Freddie. Freddie sent me that video. But that guy right there is an example of everything that I'm saying, right? We don't have the value system. And then when you mix the fact that we're blind out here with the social media healers and the different, it's wild out here. It's wild out here. You know, you got both Brian Johnsons frauding with steroids. You know, you got like, it's wild out here. This guy right here, that same guy that you just saw, he got a bunch of videos where he's also eating testicles and penises and intestines and all kinds of. And his goal is to build a following of people that are trying to get fat on purpose. And oh my God. And he's even teaching them that it's good because fat is protective. Just like we got the other guy teaching that cancer is protective. We got this guy right here teaching that fat is protective because toxins are absorbed in fat. That's literally ignorance surrounded with views and likes. You don't want the toxins to be stored in any fat or any other tissues in your body. You want the toxins to be circulating. You want the toxins to be circulating and you want your body to be moving. When the toxins are circulating and your body is moving, it's going to wind up in your lymphatic system and get caught in a lymph node. And then from there, if it's a living microbe, you'll have B cells and T cells that'll kill it. If it's a chemical toxin, it's going to be removed to the bladder, kidneys, urinary system, so you can put that thing in the toilet as soon as possible, right? But he's literally building a following of people, teaching them to store toxins. Like this is why I'm saying we have to have the right value system. Because if we don't value knowledge, if we don't value information, there was literally a movie of when society got dumber and dumber and dumber. I forgot the name of this movie. It was like a future, it was like a spoof, but it was like a future world where, books were banned and people weren't like, we're in that space. It doesn't seem like books are banned because people are still like, oh, go on, join us and make $1 billion a month selling books on Audible, where people. That is literally helping to dumb folks down, even though it doesn't seem like it, because you're selling books. You're selling audiobooks. You're getting people to stop reading, to stop exercising their mind. That's the same as like, don't worry about exercising and eating right. Just do plastic surgery. Like, just do lipo. Why are you exercising? You could just do lipo. Like, get as fat as you want. Let's just do lipo on you. Like it's insane. We're killing ourselves. In my fight, I got to fight. I have to. This is what I'm up against. I'm up against black guys teaching that cancer is protective, and I'm up against white guys teaching that fat, where you can store your toxins, is protective. Like this is what I'm up against. This is what I'm up against. This is insanity out here. Like this is the world. This is Bizarro world. This is Black Mirror. This is Twilight Zone on steroids. Like this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. And then as epidemics happen, people are wondering, why is it that dementia is now happening to people in their 40s and 50s? Whereas before it was 70s, 80s. Oh yeah, grandma getting old. Now it's 40s and 50s. Why is people in their 30s having early, dementia setting in? Having dementia setting in their 30s. Who's having dementia set in their 30s? The people who enjoyed their teenage years, their late teens and early 20s too much. The powder sniffers, the pill poppers, the party people. The party people are having early onset dementia, late 30s, early 40s. They have like boxer syndrome, right? So what we're dealing with is a massive, right? The IQ levels are dropping. IQ levels are dropping. People are getting smarter in like a scammy kind of way. And like a clever, people are becoming more clever, right? Because they're finding ways to make money. As money becomes the medium that we judge value by, as fiat becomes the standard, right? It's almost like when the world thought money was backed by something, the world ran better. Now that this cat's out of the bag and everybody, oh, money doesn't mean anything. So I can just do anything. Yeah, I can just sell my, I can be a woman, I can be a prostitute. I can sell my body. I can sell my body and then write a book about that. Or I can sell my body and do a documentary about being a prostitute and then make some money and I'll be a successful. Like, no, nobody's going to view you as successful. Like, knock it off. I could be a criminal. I could sell heroin, go to jail for killing 15 people, killing ladies and all that. I can get out of jail and come out on the internet and be a sensation. And, I can be a successful businessman. Like, no. You're a murdering dope, you're a murdering heroin dealer who killed ladies and kids. Like that's who you are. That's what you dedicated most of your time and energy to. Those are the memories you have. Right? So this is the universe you've built. Right? So we have to be mindful, pun intended, mindful about the universe we're building, because that's the real value. That's the real value, because we can't, like these guys are not the problem. This guy saying that we need more fat because fat stores toxins, like as crazy as that sounds, he's not the problem. The problem is that he's saying these things on the internet, and because they sound counter, they go against the, what people are, he's getting attention, he's getting views and likes. So he's doubling down on it. He's got videos on his page where he's eating snot and intestines and raw penises and testicles and following his man, Brian Johnson's blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, we've got to work that much harder to make sure that, we're getting our message across. So today was like little bioelectricity, but PSA, right? PSA, right? So that we can understand what's important in life and what we need to do to protect it. Now, with that being said, right? With that being said, when we go back to Kemet, the most important scientific, ceremonial, spiritual, anatomical, anything, right? The most important thing in all of Kemet was the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? The weighing of the heart ceremony. And that's because the weighing of the heart ceremony was judging, basically checking your accounts, right? Your memories, your experiences. What did you do with your life? Right? What memories did you create? Right? What memories did you create? Do you have memories? Do you have information? Listen, because this is an important part, right? You know, like, did you spend your life creating information that's important to the universe? If so, you're going to graduate. If you spent your life creating information that's only relevant to you, the universe does not need any of that, and we don't need you. It's kind of rough, but yeah. Here's the pit bull slash here's the you know the comedic version of the pit bull. You know, we're gonna feed you to Amit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you don't get to continue. You didn't spend a lifetime cultivating experiences that would enrich the data pool that's important. That's why life exists. Life exists for the data pool, the information. Literally, genetic diversity within a species determines how long that species goes before the species becomes extinct. So losing information is not just a personal thing. Losing your memory is not just a personal thing. Losing information, going the opposite way, right, in terms of epigenetics, right, taking good genes from our parents, turning them into crap genes that we pass on to our children. Like, we're sending signals that, you know, we're sending the wrong signals to the universe. We'll just put it that way, right? So we have to remember horizontal gene transfer. One of the things I've coined in the community, right? Horizontal gene. That's not something to be taken lightly, and that's not only a discussion to have in disease models. Horizontal gene transfer is a part of the actual mechanism that works to, you know, for the continuity of life, you know, that Darwin and his gang couldn't figure out. All species of life on this planet share information, which is how new species develop, how old species are maintained. It's the reason we have a microbiome, so that we can encapsulate information from from the bacterial kingdoms and beyond, are still working to build our immunity, to build our minds, to build our collective ingenuity, to build our ability to problem solve, create tools and tools for tools, to create our, you know, our better ability to use, you know, predictive analysis and probability, you know, and you know, be able to fine tune probability to another level without necessarily, you know, AI, or, you know, like, to be able to secure our progeny, right? So the attack on our mind is important. So when you see the guy, going back to our guy here, talking about fat is good, the other crazy, insane thing that he said for me, right? There's a few things that I know he doesn't understand. This is my problem. Like, this guy right here literally is the example of what I'm talking about. He might as well be Brother Yaki's, you know, I don't know. There's a white guy and black guy, but they should be twins. Like, they should be adopted brothers or something like that. Yeah, this is two peas in a pod, right? You're not studying anatomy and biochemistry, but you're trying to do health information. This is just crazy. And it's crazier because the general public doesn't know enough to be able to call bull, BS when they hear. So immediately when you hear it's good to build up fat because fat store toxin, that should be a red flag. Like, this guy not only doesn't he know what he's talking about, but he's dangerous. He's dangerous because that's literally the opposite of health. Health is like, in the environment we live in, we're all exposed to toxins every day, all day, the water, the food, the air, all that. But running from toxins is not what makes you healthy. What makes you healthy is your ability to get rid of the toxins fast. How fast you can get those toxins out of your body. This genius, this evil genius of a young man, he's literally telling people how to poison themselves, right? But the other part is, he said, getting fat makes me feel good. That's another red flag. You don't know anything about biochemistry, because you should understand that you're addicted. You're addicted. So it's not like making you feel good and like a, like hugging your children type making you feel good. It's making you feel good because it's releasing dopamine. It's like making you feel good like a line of cocaine, like hitting a crack pipe. Like, I don't even know. How do people do methamphetamines? Like, whatever that medium of ingestion is, like, whatever that, what I'm saying? Like, what do they do? They smoke it, snort it, whatever, like, that's how it's making you feel good. It's making you feel good like one of those things. Not like scoring a basket, to win the game, or, a kiss from your lady or something. Like, it's not like that. Right. But we don't understand that, like, making us feel good, like making us feel like, my father used to tell me all the time, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Making us feel good is not the standard. And unfortunately, social media, right, has a dark side to it. And not necessarily, I mean, you could go down conspiracy road with it, right? But here's the thing. Social media is built to operate off your dopamine. It's built to optimize your dopamine. It's built to keep you on platforms longer. It's built to make you like, literally by using certain words like, right? So the problem is the way our minds are designed. When somebody agrees with us, it releases dopamine. It's like love. It feels like love. When a person agrees with you, it feels like love. Even if that person is killing you. So like you're a crackhead, the person with you is a crackhead. You're like, man, I think we should go get some more crack. And they're like, man, I agree. Yeah, that feels good that they agree with you, but they're killing you. Right? And I say, for instance, that person is your brother or your mother. And you're like, man, I want to go get some crack. And they're like, nah, you got to quit. You got to turn your life around. Them not agreeing with you hurts. It's biochemical. Instead of the release of dopamine, you have the release of cortisol. You have the release of adrenaline. So when people disagree with you, rejection literally feels like pain. It literally feels like somebody punching you or pinching you or twisting your arm. Like, disagreement hurts. This is why it's difficult to build with people, because in order to build, you have to disagree. But disagreeing is pain. But that's how you grow. People want to surround themselves now more than ever with people that just say yes. Just agree. So there's no growth. You don't have to learn anything new. You don't have to, they don't stimulate you, right? They don't stimulate you to do more, right? Accept me as I am. Like, I'm a fat boy. I want to continue to be fat. I'm a drug addict. I want to be, I'm a porn addict. I just want to do porn. Like, whatever my vices are, support me in killing myself. And I can go on social media and I can find all the people that are interested in killing themselves the same way as I am and recruit. Yeah, let's just all get fat together and block out all this, lose weight stuff. Like, what are they talking about? Cancer is a good protective. What are they talking about? Yeah. That's where we are. So this is why we got to get back to basics. This is why we got to get back to nature. This is why we got to understand what is of true value, right? Because we'll be watching these videos and these videos will show us guys like, yo, I got this $6 million comic book. Yo, I just did a $30,000 upgrade to my, you know, like to my, I don't know, my race car or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not value. Unless, you know, you did the upgrade to your car yourself, right? And you did it with your children. So now that time you spent fixing your car, you did it with your children. So it's a real value, you know, it's something to that effect, right? So what we're going to get into is the system that your body has built in to preserve the value, right? To preserve the value, right? It's called the glymphatic system, right? The glymphatic system is the system that your body has built to preserve the value.